What's up, everybody? It's Mike with the Gnar Barn, and I got a great episode for you today. This is something we all can relate to. It's not a bike part, but it's definitely BMX related. So hang out for a little bit. I'm going to show you some of my favorite things and give you a little backstory about them. You're going to enjoy it. So today's cigar is Rome and Juliet. It's one of the stronger cigars. It's a little bit denser. It tastes really good. It does have kind of a nutty, chocolatey flavor to it. Yeah, it's actually really good. As you can see, I didn't get it lit very well, but we'll go ahead and just kick it off and get started. All right, let's go. With something that is BMX related, but certainly not bike parts. As you can see here, I got a lineup of shoes, and through the years, early in BMX in the early 2000s, a lot of companies came out with their own shoes. Shout out to them for giving that. That is a huge undertaking. Shoes are absolutely ridiculous. You have to order a certain amount of every size and design, and so it's a huge undertaking. So I wanted to take some time and share some of my favorite shoes. Some of these are so old, they're crusty, but I've just managed to hang on to them. But stay tuned. I have some of the fucking best shoes that have ever been released for BMX. And what's really cool about this is most of these, if you were sponsored by these companies, some of them got you paid, which is really cool too. But who doesn't like free shoes? Even if you just get free shoes, that's the cool stuff. So we'll go ahead and jump into this real quick, and let's get started. This was called the Belo. It wasn't around for very long, and they were very stiff. They were very hard. They were kind of even dated for when they came out, but a lot of people were going to the Waffle Cup. And anyway, these are still rock solid, hard, stiff. It's like strapping 2x4s to your feet. The tread was pretty good, but again, they were really heavy and just kind of a little too much. But shout out. They were around for a few years, but eventually they kind of faded out. And kudos to that company, Belo. Not a bad looking shoe, pretty sweet. This was probably not their most popular, but it was one that I actually picked up. Just wanted to support the brand, give them a shot. So shout out to Belo for coming around and sticking around BMX. Low-Tech's another one. I think I wore every single pair of Low-Techs. I loved Low-Tech. This is one of the later models. I got this on a closeout BMX site. And actually got two pair because the first pair they sent me was the wrong size. So they told me just to keep them. And so these ones are in perfect condition because, they're a little bit small, but they still look sweet and just part of history. Low-Tech were some of the best shoes. Really kind of pushed the tread wear, and I mean they were just great shoes. Had a great team. They had Mike Aiken, the most famous, one of the best riders of the time, and still holds a place in history. And he was sponsored by Low-Tech, the Night Wolf. And anyway, it was really cool. And so this is a pair. I think I tried them on, and they were just a hair too small. And then, like I said, instead of sending them back, they just sent me another pair because they were dead stock and they were done. So this is the later BMX Sunday collab with Etnies, and Aaron Ross did these. That's why you got the colors. So this had to be the mid 2000s, probably around 2010, maybe a little bit later. Again, I didn't wear these just because I thought they were pretty cool. They're faded a little bit. Have the Velcro strap up here, a little dated, but really good tread design, really good soles, and that really means a lot, So yeah, these were pretty cool. But anyway, Aaron Ross, Sunday Etnies collab. I got a ton of Etnies, but since they dropped their BMX program, that's what I think of that. These ones, good story with these. These are orchids, and these are some of the last revisions that they had. Where did I get this? Well, I wanted to say that I actually got these off of eBay. Van Homan actually listed a bunch of his old shoes from when he rode for Orchid, and he had these old shoes. These are the V2s, you know. So really cool. I mean, they came from him. You can see I haven't even worn them yet. Really cool design, really cool color. I just, yeah, I mean, coming straight from Van Homan, I thought, oh, you know what? That's pretty cool. And like I said, if you stick around, this isn't the only mention of Van Homan. I'm going to do some name dropping, but this isn't the only Van Homan that you'll see or you'll hear me talk about tonight. So, yeah, really cool. Van Homan eBay purchase. I know you don't know me, dude, but thanks a lot. Now this one, back in the late 90s, Airwalk gym shoe. Airwalk came out with the one called the tennis ball. Yeah, it looks like a tennis ball. Now, I'm not gonna lie, these are repops because in the 90s they came out with these and you just destroyed them. You just went through them. I went through so many of these. At one point, you could get these at Montgomery Ward's for like $19 or something like that. These ones, actually, I got them 30 years later for $19 because they were in Payless Shoe Source. That still not as cool as it was back in the 90s, but man, we just went through these like crazy. All right, I told you that I have something really special. 4 of my favorite shoes. There's a few honorable mentions. I even had a pair of Inopias. I had a pair of Vision Streetwear, and then a Vision Streetwear Repop. All those. I have probably 100 pair of Vans, and I have, like I said, 30 pairs of Etnies. But you know what? Like I have the Rad shoes, and I have all those other ones. But these 4 that I'm going to show you now mean a lot to me. And they are, some of them are roached, but you know, by the time I was done riding in them, I really was like, crap, I shouldn't have done that. So, you ready for this? All right, let's go. And they're not all in original boxes. That wasn't a thing when you're buying BMX shoes or riding shoes. So we're just going to start with my 4 favorite. All right. This one. Oh, yes. You know them, you love them. This is the Sheriff. This is Scotty Kramer's signature shoe. One of his, I think his first one. If I'm wrong, comment below, let me know. But this is one of the Vans that was his shoe. I never rode in this shoe. I actually wore these to church and stuff because I thought that they were so nice. I didn't want to wear them. There's no pedal marks in them or anything. They're stiff as a board. They're starting to yellow a little bit. I've been holding them into a climate controlled dark room so that they wouldn't get any worse. But man, these used to just sit out, and I wore these on dates. I wore these, you know, everywhere. They're just such a great shoe, but they're really comfortable. And yeah, you're not going to find these anymore. Scotty Kramer, one of the world's best. I also have his last release of Vans shoes, but these ones are the Sheriff, and I mean they are amazing. I mean, these are from the late 2000s, 2010, maybe beyond that. But I've had these forever. I might have rode in them once, but there is no pedal wear on this at all. This thing is stiff as a board, but it is a great looking shoe. Um, yeah, maybe I need to clean all these up because they look disgusting. But yeah, I got both of them here. And as you can see, they are still holding their shape, still holding their pattern. And yeah, They're really cool. The air pocket there. I think they said on some, I think it was on Taj's podcast, they said that those air pockets are really expensive. So just wanted to give a shout out to Scotty. He's still doing his thing. He's still a YouTube sensation. Gotta love it. But don't have the original box, so you get the Saucony box. Okay. I told you they're coming. They're coming. This is, these are roached, but at the same time, this was when Airwalk was at the height of sponsoring BMX, making great skate shoes, making great BMX shoes, and I wore these sons of bitches out. These are the Airwalk Van Homens. I don't even remember the name of them or you know what they were, but I still have them. They've got wet. They're all moldy. They're not moldy, but you know you're not gonna die from it. This one's really bad shape. It laid on its side, but I think I'm gonna clean these up too. But they're blue, and as they were blue, because they were blue and not the black ones, I actually got them at a really cheap. I got them cheap. You know, back then they were probably still 65 bucks. I don't know. Maybe they were 65 bucks new and I got them for 40. I don't remember. I didn't get them at Montgomery Ward like those other ones or Payless. These were the ultimate skate shoe, freestyle shoe, BMX shoe. They had great skate shoes too, but this is where they actually branched over. They gave Van Homen his signature shoe, and God, I wish I could remember what the name of them were, but I've worn that off too. So really comfy, lots of pedal wear. Learned so many tricks in these shoes, and I love them. I mean, they were comfortable too. So everybody loves shoes. So let's see what we got. All right, first one, Scotty Kramer, Sheriff. Second one, Van Homen, Airwalk. The third one is another one of my favorites. This is not the original box, obviously, but this is something that I think that we all can agree on. Some of the best riders to come into the sport, contribute to the sport, and do something with it. This is the Foster Brothers Airwalk. Again, they were in the BMX game. Foster Brothers, right? This is the second version. The first version looked like a bowling shoe, which was like really rad. I had a pair of those. I wore them out. But these ones were just as good. Flat sole. They weren't as grippy, but they were still pretty sweet. They look sweet. These ones actually are still pretty decent shape. Big padded tongue. Original laces. No air pocket, you notice, because that is an expensive trait to a tennis shoe. Yeah, they stink, but that's because I did wear these. And by the time I realized the Airwalk was going out of business, I stopped wearing them. There's not a lot of pedal wear on these, but there was, because I did learn, you know, I did learn 360s with these shoes, I'm sure, because they are imprinted in this. If you have a pair of these Foster Brothers, you have to do 360s. Brian Foster, Alan Foster, two of the greatest names in BMX, and still wonderful guys, great guys. Really cool that you know, Airwalk was so involved with BMX at that time. So here's the Foster Brothers, and don't worry, I'm going to do a flyby of all of these, and so we'll get a close up of all of these. But out of Colorado, we have the Troy McMurray Pumas. Now, story goes with this is I had two pairs of these, a 9.5 and a 10. These are 9.5s. The soles look like the bottom of a tire. I mean, they're stiff as a board. They weren't that comfortable. They're cool looking, but they had a great design here. I mean, kudos to Troy McMurray for getting Puma in the BMX game. See this here? This was for your, so you didn't hit the ball of your foot on the pedal. So you see how it's on one side, kind of a mid-top on the other side. But god dang, these things were so stiff. The soles did not grip very well. They were just not the best. I had a pair of 9.5s. Those fit me better than 10s. The 10s were big. I gave them to a buddy of mine, Nate Alsup. That guy had no brakes and no parking brake on his damn car. Put it in park, the damn thing would roll backwards. So one day I let him borrow a pair of these shoes, and when he'd come visit our house, he would jam these shoes underneath the rear tire as a wheel chock. As time went on, he'd just leave that tire or that he'd just leave that in the driveway and park in the same spot every time. So he would just leave the shoe there, and then he'd just pull around it and then let the car coast right back in. These things are so stiff. They're so stiff. So he ended up ruining that pair of shoes. He dropped them one time, went back and got them. He never actually wore them to ride in them, and that's what I gave them to him for. But what do you do? They're actually a great looking shoe. Uh, I love the Troy McMurray little emblem that they have here. Again, kudos to Troy for getting Puma in the BMX game, because they are a BMX shoe, and that's what they were marketed as. And I hope that you got paid good with that, buddy, because they're still pretty sweet, but I would never ride in these again. And I'm not going to use these as a wheel chuck either. Also, I'm telling you, I'm keeping these out of your sights. So hopefully you got a better car and your park meter works better. But anyway, Troy McMurray, Pumas. And let me know what you think. If you don't think that these shoes, if you think that I'm way off on these shoes, please let me know. Troy, if you are watching this, please let me know. I even have the inner soles on them. Dang, I didn't even know that. But anyway, let me know what you think. And thanks for tuning in. Sorry I'm a few days late, but we've actually been riding. It's been pretty nice here in Iowa. So we've been riding, and look for those clips to come out as well. Anyway, cheers to a smoke and a beer and a nice collection of shoes that I'll probably never wear again. So have a good one, y'all. We'll see you next time.